Good morning. Welcome to Transpiration Part 2. Stomata are minute structures occurring in large numbers on the lower epidermis of a leaf. Transpiration occurs as long as the stomata are open and it stops when they are closed. So, by this we come to know that the opening and closing of stomata, or the mechanism of closing and opening of stomata, is regulated by the amount of water and solutes present in the guard cells. Now, as the stomata opens during the daytime, the diffusion of gases in and out starts fulfilling the need for photosynthesis, as well as side by side it allows the transpiration. And if for any reason water content of the leaf is falling short, the guard cells fail to remain turgid. Rather than they turn to flaccid. So thereby it closes the stomata, or the stomatal opening and close, and the transpiration stops. A more detailed account of closing and opening of stomata is given in the next chapter. So we'll see in detail in the next chapter. Now let us have some example. Leaves of some plant wilt during the midday and recover in the evening. For example, a balsam plant or the leaves of the balsam plant wilt during the midday in spite of the fact that there is plenty of water in the soil. In such case, the rate of transpiration during the midday exceeds the rate of absorption of water by the roots. So it said that the cells loses the turgidity. In the evening or during the night, the stomata are constricted and the temperature is not so high. So there is no loss of water through transpiration, and the turgidity of the leaf is again reacquired and they stand out erect. Now dear children, note that stomatal transpiration is controlled by the plants by adjusting the size of the stomata. Whereas the same thing does not happen in case of cuticular and lenticular transpiration. It is quite different from the stomatal transpiration. So let us welcome to another topic called as the cuticular transpiration. Now what is this cuticle? Actually, cuticle is a waxy layer secreted by the epidermis on the two surfaces of the leaf. If you see a dorsiventral leaf, on both the sides there is a waxy layer on the leaf. So that is called as the cuticle, and the thickness of the cuticle varies from plant to plant. Primarily, the cuticle serves to prevent evaporation of water from the leaf surfaces, and however some evaporation does occur still, and the greater the thickness of the cuticle, the lesser is the evaporation or transpiration. So we have an example where we see the cuticle is thicker enough, and that is our cactus plant or the desert plant. They have thick cuticles so that they can avoid transpiration or to cut down the speed of transpiration or loss of water. Lenticular transpiration means the lenticels which are present on the barks of older stems in place of stomata. Okay, they are special openings. They are developed on the barks of the older stems. Where there are no stomatas, these lenticels are present. So these lenticels allow diffusion of gases for respiration as well as for photosynthesis, and they never close like the stomata. They always remain open, and water from the cell surfaces directly facing the lenticel evaporates and contributes to transpiration. So the amount of transpiration from lenticel is certainly more than the cuticle, but very much less than the stomatal transpiration. Factors that affect transpiration. So there are certain internal factors as well as some external factors. So these 6 factors are the external factors, which are intensity of sunlight, temperature, velocity of wind, humidity, carbon dioxide, atmospheric pressure. Whereas internal factor is only one, that's water content of the leaves. So we'll discuss in detail about these external factors. So our first factor is intensity of sunlight. So our first factor is intensity of sunlight. During the day, the stomata are open to facilitate the inward diffusion of carbon dioxide for photosynthesis, and at night they are closed. Therefore, it's said that more the transpiration occurs during the daytime only, and when it is cloudy during the day, the stomata are partially closed and the transpiration is reduced. Temperature. If the outside temperature is higher, there is more evaporation from the leaves, and therefore more transpiration occurs. So it said that increase in temperature allows more water to evaporate, and the decrease in temperature reduces the evaporation. Warm air can hold more water than the cold air. Velocity of wind. Transpiration increases with the velocity of wind. That means if the wind blows faster, then the water vapor released during transpiration is removed faster and the area outside the leaf does not get saturated with water vapor. Humidity. Transpiration is reduced if the air outside is humid, and high humidity in the air reduces the rate of outward diffusion of internal water vapor across stomata, thereby reduces the rate of transpiration. And humidity means that it is the presence of water vapor in the atmosphere. So if more water vapor is present in the atmosphere, then the transpiration is also reduced. Carbon dioxide. Increase in the carbon dioxide level in the outside air over normal, that is 0.03%, causes the stomatal closure. That means if the amount of carbon dioxide is more, then also the stomata closes and results in the decrease of transpiration. Atmospheric pressure. The rate of transpiration increases with the decrease in atmospheric pressure, and thus it enhances the diffusion of water. Now the internal factor which affects the transpiration is water content of the leaves. It said that if the water content of leaf decreases due to insufficient absorption of water by the roots, the leaf will wilt and transpiration will also reduce. So such reduction in transpiration is indirectly due to the closure of stomata, and it is a natural mechanism of conserving water within the plant so that the plant will live alive. Adaptation in plants to reduce the excessive transpiration. So what should the plant adapt itself so that it can reduce excessive transpiration? What happens, many plants, especially those which grow in the dry climate, have evolved a variety of permanent adaptation to cut down the transpiration or to curtail transpiration. So some of these adaptations are, first is your sunken stomata. So the stomata may be sunken or covered by hairs, by which it can reduce the transpiration. Second thing is fused stomata, if the number of stomata are reduced. Third is if the narrow leaves are there, then the leaves may become narrower to reduce surface tension or surface area. Next is reduced exposed surface. In some cases, leaves may get wavy, rolled or folded so that the exposed surface of the leaf is less, and so the transpiration will ultimately be less. Next is loss of leaf. In some cases, leaves may be dropped or may be absent or changed due to spines in case of a cactus. So that also reduces the excessive transpiration. And lastly, the thick cuticle. If the leaves are covered by thick cuticle, for example like banyan, which are the most evergreen trees, they will reduce the transpiration or excessive transpiration. Significance of transpiration. Transpiration has great significance for the plants, and its main advantages are it helps in cooling, creating suction force and distributing water throughout the plant. So how it gives a cooling effect? Evaporation reduces temperature of leaf surfaces, and therefore transpiration is useful to plants on hot sunny days. So it said that at intense heat the enzymes are destroyed. So the plants on a sunny day gives a cooling effect. Second is the suction force. If transpiration helps in the ascent of sap by producing a suction force acting from the top of a plant. It said that evaporation from the leaves concentrates cell sap and increases their osmotic pressure, and this draws the water from the cells at the lower levels in a sequential manner, and finally favors absorption of water from the soil by the roots. Figure 5.12 in your book, page number 62, also represents the transpiration stream. As the water evaporates from the leaves, a suction force is produced at the top of the plant, drawing more water up through the stem and makes the root absorb more of it from the soil. Distribution of water and mineral salts. Since leaves are present at the tip of all branches and twigs, transpiration from their surfaces tends to draw water towards them and thus helps in the distribution of water throughout the plant body. So it said that higher the rate of transpiration, greater is the rate of absorption of water and the solutes from the soil. Transpiration affects climate also. It has been seen that plants give out large quantities of water during transpiration. For example, a fully grown single sunflower plant is estimated to lose half a liter of water per day in the form of water vapor. Second example is a maize plant which loses around 2 liters of water per day, and a large apple tree may lose about 30 liters of water per day. So these figures gives an idea of the huge quantities of water released into the atmosphere by vast stretches of fields and particularly the forests. Thus, transpiration increases and brings the moisture in the atmosphere so that it can bring rain. In this way, transpiration from the plants affects the climate. So it said that forests contribute in bringing rain, and so transpiration is the secret. That's why we say that if we plant more trees, we'll have good rainfall. Thus, the table 5.1 with the difference between evaporation and transpiration. So please go through that. It's that what is evaporation? It's a loss of water from the surface of the water body in the form of vapor, whereas in transpiration, loss of water is the form of vapor from the aerial parts of the plant. In evaporation, it's a physical change controlled by the temperature and humidity of the atmosphere, whereas transpiration is partly a physical process controlled by both internal and external factors. Evaporation is a fast process, whereas transpiration is a slow process. Now, there are, in spite of this transpiration, due to which the plant can lose the water, there are other two other two ways due to which the plants are also losing the water, but not in the form of water vapor, rather it is in the form of liquid or fluid. So you might have seen in water is given out through the plants. If we give a cut, deep cut is there in a plant, then you will see that the water oozes out. That is nothing but the guttation or bleeding. Okay, so bleeding. So some plants lose water directly in the form of liquid and not as water vapor. So what is this guttation? The leaves of certain plants exhibit droplets of water along their margins in the morning, and this particularly happens in the plants growing in warmer or humid conditions. It said that a humid environment hampers transpiration while the roots continue to absorb water from the soil, and this builds up a big hydrostatic pressure within the plant and forces out the excess water directly from the tips of veins in the leaf. Special pore bearing structures called hydrathoids are present on the margin of the leaf. This allows the water to exude out, and guttation can be observed in many plants, and it is quite common in banana, nasturtium and strawberry. That is what we call it as guttation. Bleeding. This happens only due to injury. The plant sap escapes out from the ruptured or the cut surface of a plant, and the root pressure generated by the plant assists in bleeding. For example, how we get an injury, if we get a cut or injury in our blood, in our body, blood oozes out. The same way in plants also, if there is an injury, the plant also bleed out. But in our human beings or animals, we have blood, whereas the plants, they give out the cell sap. Summing up, figure 5.14 is a schematically represented most of the phenomena related to the intake and loss of water in the plant through the transpiration. So see, there is a diagram of figure number 5.14 which shows the osmosis, imbibition, etc. starting from the or beginning from the root, how this water is taken in through the soil, then to the root hair, then to the xylem, and then it goes on to the leaf. So this is the diagrammatic representation of the path of water through the plant and the various physical process or forces which are responsible for the movement within and loss of water outside. By this we come to the end of this chapter. Even there is a difference between transpiration and guttation on the next page, page number 64. Please see that. Water is lost in the form of vapor in transpiration, whereas water is lost in the form of water droplets in guttation. Pure water only changes into vapor in transpiration, whereas water loss contains mineral salts in solution in the guttation. Water vapor is lost through stomata, lenticule and cuticle in transpiration, whereas in guttation water is lost through the pores called hydrathoids, which are found on the ends of the veins. And transpiration may lead to loss of turgidity in the leaf cells, which causes the wilting of the leaf, whereas guttation has no effect on the turgidity of leaf. Stomatal transpiration is regulated by guard cells, whereas guttation is regulated by opening of hydrathoids. Transpiration occurs in the presence of sunlight, whereas guttation can occur at night or early morning. Transpiration cools the plant body. Guttation has no such effect on the plants. Transpirations occur during the dry condition and it occurs in humid condition, that is the guttation. By this we wind up with this chapter of transpiration. So see the resume of the chapter, it's a summary, so you can go through it, then do the review questions, multiple choice, very short answers, as well as long answers and structured type answers. And structured type answers are very important because these questions are very often coming in the exams. So all these things, you assignments, take it as assignments and write it down in your notes, and once the school reopens we'll have the correction work.